So you swing over to coinmarketcap.com, and the first thing that you notice is the Fear and Greed Index is sitting at 19 in the extreme fear category.
Perfect.
Then you start scrolling down because your uncle's, cousin's, brother's, neighbor's, best friend's girlfriend who heard from somebody who had read on an obscure online forum about a preacher who successfully predicted an increase in the price of Reese's peanut butter cups of 20% more than 10 years ago. And he says this coin is going to the moon. So you do your due diligence, and you can see, holy cow, it's down 99.99%.
That's gotta be a good deal.
And look, it's resting all the way down here on support. And there's only 6.45 trillion coins in circulation.
Awesome.
So you buy. And after holding for a while, what once was the floor suddenly becomes the ceiling. Don't waste your hard-earned capital on shit coins, folks. And as always, this is not financial advice, but do me a favor and hit the like button really quick, as it's free. It absolutely helps the channel, and I would really appreciate it. Now, jumping over and taking a look at the XRP monthly chart. Where price is currently trading, what this chart is telling us now is that it is time to start paying attention. At some point, every chart pattern, as it starts to move down, eventually gets to a point to where you want to start accumulating. Now, that doesn't mean that you drop 10 bands on the asset that you would like to accumulate on the same day at the exact same time at the press of a button. What it means is that you dollar cost average accumulating over a period of time. Because it's much better to be a little early, gradually dollar cost averaging, pushing into the lows, accumulating over time, than to be left behind. And if you've ever played poker, you've heard the term a chip in a chair. Because if you have a chip, then you have a chair and you can play the game. But if you don't have a chip, you have no chair and there's no game to play at all. But right now, in terms of XRP, it's time to start paying attention. It's time to start putting a plan together, especially if you're one of these people that's looking to establish a position or to increase an existing position over time. Now we're going to take a look at this chart and we're going to see what this tells us. And we'll notice right here, taking a look at the zero lag, there is only 2 times that it has ever thrown a green buy signal on the monthly chart. Now that in itself is not a reason to buy. The last thing you want to do is put all your faith in an indicator. But if we simply put a line right here where this buy signal was thrown, and we will put another one right here because we've just barely thrown another one. And essentially all this is a reference mark letting us know about what this indicator said and where it said it on the monthly chart. Now we're going to take a look at something even more important. Now, taking a closer look at the CCI, we can see that there have been very few times where the blue line has pushed below the negative 100 line, which is this white line right here on the CCI. It happened once right here, it happened once right here, and it is now happening again. If we draw another line right here at the peak, we'll make this one white, of that first push down right here, the peak of this one right here, and we're also going to put one right next to this point here because they're sitting in the same spot. So they would overlap and we simply wouldn't be able to see them. Now we're going to take a rectangle and we're going to draw out a nice little box right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring it up to this point right here, which is the highest point any of these lines that have pushed below the negative 100 line have reached. And we're also going to mark the deepest that it has ever reached, coming off of this point right here. Going to go to here, just like this. Now, still on the monthly chart, we are also going to use the CCI to mark the bullish crossovers, which is when the blue line crosses through the yellow line. Our first bullish crossover occurred right here. After hitting this low right here, there was a bullish crossover right here. And where we're currently trading, we have yet to throw the bullish crossover. So we're mainly going to be looking at these sections to get an idea of what we could expect to see right here on the chart, moving into the future. Come over and join us on my Patreon. I upload new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday for Master Tier members. Now we're going to drop down to the weekly chart and dial this in a little bit. First, we're going to go and check out this section right here. This is where the signal was thrown by the blue line pushing into this green area we just outlined right here on the CCI. This was the buy signal from the zero lag on the monthly chart, and this right here was the bullish crossover on the monthly chart. Now what we'll notice right here is this low that came into play before we pushed down to that bottom, down to this green box on the monthly. We're going to mark this low out right here. Now, we are going to put another box in right here, putting the top of that box off of the bottom of the wick of this candle that pushed a low before the CCI hit that low. We're going to pull the bottom of the box down to the lowest wick that we've seen thus far. Now, thinking back on this, you wouldn't have known this occurred until the CCI had hit this low and started to move back upward, so you would be quite a few candles into this before you even realized you could mark this and start using this information to your advantage. Now we're going to pull this box over here, right off of the point of this signal, and we can see that it ended right here. This was the last time it was touched. Now we're going to switch this to yellow. This area right here was your opportunity to accumulate. Now we're going to do the same thing, going back to this section right here. We can see in this case that the previous low was right here. So we're going to essentially do the exact same thing. CCI pushed down, settled low, started to move back up, so it was quite a few candles later before you would realize this was even possible. So we're going to mark this candle right here. This is going to be the marker to set this box coming off of the bottom, just like we did before. We're going to come off of the bottom of this wick right here, and we're going to slide it over to our signal line. Now we can see that it did not come back down to this point right there. We can see if we pulled it over this way that it did tap back into this again later down the road, which is even more proof that this box has power. This area right here was your opportunity to accumulate. Now, if we move over to where price is currently trading, we know that we threw this buy signal right here. We know that on the monthly CCI, price is pushed down into this green box. So there is a very good chance that we can consider this right here to be that signal. Looking for the previous low would be this candle right here. You can clearly see once price broke up through here, this was the lowest low until this candle came into play. And it's very likely that there's still going to be downward momentum. We'll get into that in just a minute. But if we come over and set this rectangle right now, exactly the way we've been doing, coming off of this candle low right here, coming off of the lowest low in the pattern as it exists currently right here, swing this over to the signal line. Thus far, this area right here is our opportunity to accumulate. Which means, if we draw a line here and draw a line here as it sits right now, anything within this price range is open season for accumulation. Now we're going to dial this in a little bit further, going off of this high right here and this low right here, because this is an A, B, C expanded flat, and we measure from those 2 points. We're going to pull a fib level off of that high, coming down to this low right here. And these are the fib levels that I've been talking about for quite some time, with the 1.618 sitting at $1.02. So we know that it's likely that there's going to be lower price action. This certainly could be the low, nobody knows. But I do believe we're going to come down lower to at least the 1.618. If we go back and take a look at these previous patterns, they're not quite as easy to measure out as the one that we just measured. This one being a zigzag, we wouldn't measure from this point here to here. Instead, we would measure from this point here to here. So by taking a fib level here, going off of this high right here, and off of this low right here, we can see when looking at these fib levels that once it came down and set this low, it did come and take this low out, but once this low was set, it never again took that low out. It did not make it down to the 1.618. When we go back to this previous iteration right here, which we would measure in the same way, with this being a zigzag pattern pushing to the downside, we would mark off of the top of this candle, pulling down to the bottom of this candle. We can see in this particular case that price ended up pushing down exactly to the 1.702 fib. Now we'll drop down to the daily to get a better look at these accumulation zones. We can see the area of the low candle right here, where the signal was thrown. Price came down, pushed deep into the accumulation zone, hit the 1.702, wicking deep into this area, and once pulling out of this area, this accumulation zone essentially acted as support the entire time afterwards. And the reason why that often happens is because smart money, the institutions and hedge funds, have their orders down here. So once price comes down into here, their orders get filled, price comes up, it never comes back down into this area because they defend the heck out of it. If we move over and take a look at the second accumulation area, right here, we can see the low wick candle here. Price pulled down, pushed down pretty deep, right into the market makers and institutions' orders. Price then was basically supported on top after that point, being heavily defended. In this case, after this signal through to the last opportunity to buy, gave you 219 days to accumulate below this point right here within this box, giving you the opportunity to do exactly what the market makers and institutions and hedge funds do by stacking limit buy orders within this box, waiting for them to be filled. This way you don't have to buy everything all at once. You can gradually dollar cost average, investing a little bit of your money every paycheck and buying over time. So this is great because it gives you the opportunity to accumulate without putting up a bunch of money up front and being able to do so over a period of time, which reduces your risk, rather than dropping the farm at a particular price point, because you never know exactly what's going to happen in the market. Predicting the future is not as easy as you would believe. And if we go back to this previous area here, we can see that in this particular case, after price dropped down into this box here, the last iteration touching it here, this one gave you 116 days to accumulate. And Bruce, you're absolutely right. The Matrix is trolling me with this number. Little inside joke there for my Patreon. So if we come to the current area where price is now trading, knowing that prices could very likely come down lower, this lower wick right here could still come down. This is still a variable. We've established the top of this box based off the wick of this candle right here. We've thrown this signal, so still being a variable, this could also adjust. It's hard to say exactly how this is going to work out. But as I've said in the past, I believe that we are going to see the bottom of XRP somewhere within this box right here. Certainly not guaranteed. That is absolutely what I think we're going to see. And there are a lot of different ways that this could end up playing out. We could end up seeing price come down, taking out this previous low, pushing down into the market maker's orders, coming up, being supported in this range, then seeing a move, breaking out to the upside. We could see this thing break down low and even hold a lower range like this before breaking out to the upside, essentially pulling the lower line of this box down considerably. And of course, there's always an opportunity for the powers that be to create a black swan event where we get something massive like that, then we pull up, then we eventually break out, taking us down to super deep levels, which is one reason why I think it's always a good idea to have low limit buy orders placed strategically that are basically just sitting there. So if something like this does happen, you have an opportunity to get these limit orders filled. And as I've learned over the years, it's generally better, rather than putting all your eggs in one basket on one single limit order, to come in and layer your limit buy orders like this in every area you're interested in trying to pick up cheap XRP. Because being limit buy orders, they need to match you wanting to buy from a seller who's trying to sell the exact same amount or greater at the exact same price. Say you're trying to buy here, but they're selling here and price comes down, it's not going to match these two orders. But by layering the limit buy orders in here, you're increasing your opportunity to match you, the buyer, with a seller. So by layering your orders in like this, you're increasing your odds of getting filled. You might not get all your orders filled, but it's better than price wicking through here and none of them filling. So I cannot stress this enough. Right now, more than any time since we hit this all-time high right here and have been moving to the downside, is a time to pay attention. Get your plans in order, get your game plan laid out, and get that already figured out, because we have a clear track record of these areas of being able to accumulate at or near the lows for a considerable period of time. And we may now be getting very close to that exact same thing once again, giving you the opportunity to dollar cost average into a position over time, reducing your risk, getting a nice average price moving into the next bull market. And I absolutely believe that this next bull market is going to separate the wheat from the chaff. The coins that have real-world utility are going to become incredibly valuable assets moving forward because they have a purpose. But in terms of about 99% of the other cryptos in the cryptocurrency market having no purpose other than pure speculation, essentially being nothing but shit coins, please, folks, do not waste your hard-earned capital buying these shit coins. You might as well be scratching lottery tickets if you're investing in junk. And of course, we all have a few speculative coins in our portfolio. But if these speculative coins in your portfolio are more than 15% of your overall portfolio size, you're not investing, you're gambling. And we are not here to be gamblers. We are here to be strategic investors. And that's not financial advice, that's just my opinion. And as always, go with your gut and do what's best for you.